Welcome. This quiz has 2 sections, each with 20 questions, totaling 40 points. You can skip questions you don't want to answer. At the end of the quiz, you can see your score, as well as the correct answers, all the questions you selected an answer for. So if you're curious about a question but don't know the answer, be sure to guess, so you can see the correct answer at the end. Many questions are extremely niche, and only known by the most die-hard players. It's perfectly okay if you don't know most of the questions. If you remember right, most of the questions are pre-AR. Oh my god, I'm not going to stand a chance. It'd be interesting to see after I finish the lore, all condensed in like a year, how I hold up against Brian, who's been doing it over 13 years since like Project Raptor. Like, he's received more information than me, but it's over a huge amount of time. So, no big spoilers. Alright. Let's do it. Which of the following worlds is not a legacy world? Ragnarok? Legacy meaning 1.0 players were placed there. So like Sargatanas on Aether, where I live, is a legacy world. That's why I'm here. Which of the following is not one of the 3 great continents? The original continents are the brothers. That's Aldenard on the west, Ilsebard in the middle, Othard on the right. Vilebrand is the, like, separate one, right? Because it's an island? The Chiadales are a group of islands in... They are between Vilebrand and Thanalan, down below. The Indigo Dreep would be on the east as we head towards Thavnair. So that makes it the Ratano? Oh god, that's hard. Okay. The epithet of Althik is... Oh no. I have no idea. Althik the Keeper, Althik the Scholar, Althik the Spinner, Althik the Warden, the Keeper. That feels right. But that is like a feeling. And why have facts when your feelings can be your facts? Which of the following zones contains the mark of Rhalgr the Destroyer? So, way back in ARR, if you wanted to, as optional additional lore, you could go around the zones and there are the marks of the 12. I don't know where Rhalgr is. I'm gonna guess Thanalan because it was the most destroyed by the Calamity. That's my logic. The city-state of Belladia were founded by the descendants. So Belladia is the sister city to Ul'dah. So Nim is in Lenosha, so that's not it. Amdapor's Lenosha? So I'm gonna guess Mach. Which of the following Imperial Castra is in the nation of Naxia? No idea. No idea. No idea. Belladia is the mother city? I thought they were sisters. If you get married in game, you have to visit all 12 marks. That's cool. Naxia. So the thing is, I don't know how to rule any of these out. So I can't tell you where I think any of these are. So it's just which one sounds like a castrum, which is Solus. Because, like, that sounds like a naming convention they would use. All of them do a little bit. When he died, Regulovan Hydrus was the legatus of the 7th. fairly confident. 70% confident. The Battle of Carteneau, which heralded the 7th Umbral era, was fought in the year of Mother of God, who knows this? Which one of you has a rhyme you're telling yourself? And if you cannot do this with, like, the year the Constitution was written for your country, or the year of, like, the Magna Carta or something like that, how is this more useful? Oh my god. Who knows? Pick C. The current name for the area immediately outside of the Great Sultana in western Thanalan is... the 80 Sins of Sasma? The 3rd Umbral Calamity was of the blank element. God. Ice. I don't know. The 2nd Umbral Calamity was responsible for the rejoining of the blank shard to the source. Third? This is so hard. Which of the following is not a historic Sharlayan? Now, if this is a good trivia game, it is not a made-up name. It is 3 historic Sharlayans and somebody else that is historic from somewhere else. But I maybe believe that B and D are real people. They sound elegant. I don't know. The historic first Pajal. Oh no. Atoa Kant? Is that whose gear we go find? That's like White Maid's job quest, right? The following is not a historic saint of the Ishgardian Orthodox Church. Isn't Purcell one of the people in Ishgard? Not a saint? The bestiary genus Hesti is a member of... I think it's A or B. The following bestiary genera is a member of the Chimera class. The Void Sent Faradad occupies the blank rung of the hierarchy of the 12. What? How do people know this? I'm gonna guess as high up as possible. Which of the following is not the title name of the seat of the Convocation of the 14? So when you take a job on the Convocation, first of all, it is a life assignment. So most people die in office. They fulfill their duty and they kill themselves, right? As a way of returning their being to the ethereal sea so that it may be reborn for a new purpose. It is supposed to be more honorary. Not everybody does, though. When you take that as a result, there is, in theory, typically only going to be one living person from each seat. So you give up your birth name and you become known by that name. So your job title becomes your name. It is incredibly Greek in nature, so it would not shock me if all of them end up being fairly Greek names. So that one sounds the least like the name of a seat to me, but I don't know all 14 names, and I didn't know that we could. Which of the following is not one of the 4 Ishgardian watchtowers? The Dusk Vigil is to the north and is overseen by a big gem that is lost. It is a tragic story. The Stone Vigil is to the... It's on the north of Falcon. Stone Vigil holds down the west side of Central. So I don't know where the last Vigil and Steel Vigil are. But this one doesn't sound like a place I've been. Which of the following Disciples of Han's Guild is not in Ul'dah? Ul'dah is Alchemist, Weaver and Goldsmith. Armorer is in Lenosha. In Limsa. With Culinarian and Fisher? Weaponsmith? Weaponsmith. And the Shroud is Leatherworker, Carpenter, and there's only 8. So that would be it. That would be it. Which of the following dungeons is not a leveling dungeon? Meaning, would not show up in your leveling roulette, it would show up in the capstone roulette. The Great Gubo Library is mid-Heavensward, so I believe that is leveling. Castrum Abanya is going to be Stormblood, so I don't remember when it is. Academia a Niter, I believe, is leveling. The Atioscope. We run it during Moogle Tomestones because it's outrageously fast when it's included. It's a Heavensward dungeon. I'm going to guess that Castrum Abanya is our level 70 dungeon. But it might be the 61. We have Bardam's Medal. I don't remember. Oh my god, that's hard. We get a lot of dungeons in this game. We get a 60... We get we get one every 10 levels. We get one on the 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So we get 5 leveling dungeons, right? And then we get a capstone dungeon. One at 70. And then we get, from now on, in recent history, we get one with .1, one with .2, one with .3, one with .4, and one with .5. So each expansion, we get 10 dungeons. But only 4 of those are leveling dungeons. Those are the ones that you see more often, because the leveling roulette is the better reward. I just don't remember which ones are included. Alexander. Okay. So the 11th raid. So they end with father and begin with son. So I believe it's going to be a creator. And I believe we end in the heart. So I believe it's the heart of the creator. That's my logic. I could be wildly wrong. Which of the following is not a category of combat actions? So is one of them marking utility? Like opening a treasure map? Or... So that would make it one of the first two, right? Holy crap. Alright. Which of the following... I'm going to fail this hard. Which of the following is not a type of physical damage? Beginning in this patch, those will all be very clearly shown, and I don't believe bruising is one of them. But starting January 10th, 2023, you'll no longer need an add-on. You'll no longer need to break terms of service to very clearly see this in-game. Read the following hypothetical combat description. Deals unaspected damage over time, with a potency of 60, over 21 seconds. Over its full duration, this action deals unaspected damage totaling 21 times 60, right? So it would tick every second for 21 seconds? That can't be right. Because that would make it way bigger than any of these. What's our tick rate? You guys got a 21 of 40 and an 18 of 40. Oh, I'm probably below all of that. How often does a dot tick? If it's every 6, so if it ticks 6 times over 21 seconds, that's a weird interval. Does it tick with the global? The global is 2.5. In which case, why would we do 21? Because 20 would be an even multiple. So it doesn't tick with the global. And so my assumption is it ticks every 3, so it's 7 ticks. So 7 times 60 is 420. 6 doesn't go into 21, so it can't be 360. 8 doesn't go into 21, so it can't be 480. 9 doesn't go into 21, so it can't be 540. So the only one that makes sense is 420, because the only one that ticks an even number of times, like a complete number of times. If they'd given me like 20 seconds or 30 seconds, it would have been harder. Right? Because then we could have had multiples like 3, 5, 6. But this is the only one that is an even number. Otherwise, some of these seconds aren't doing anything. Read the following hypothetical combat description. Creates a patch of corrupted earth, dealing unaspected damage with a potency of 60 to any enemies who enter, 21 seconds. An enemy who stays inside this area of this action through the entirety direction is dealt an unaspected total . Is this not the same thing? It doesn't say over time, though. It says who enter. But it's got to be the same thing, right? It's still 21 seconds, potency of 60. The order of the following clans from highest to lowest. Vitality. Not even a ballpark of knowledge. None. None whatsoever. None. Not even like the tiniest little bit. A Highlander is a human. Wildwood sounds like an elf, so let's assume less. So let's put Wildwood right of Highlander. It's always right of Highlander. Seawolf sounds like a row. So I would guess row, human, elf. Is that Makote? So let's try that. No idea. Oh, God. That doesn't even matter anymore. Right? Like, that's not still a thing. It's not something that affects a casual like me. The minimum damage multiplier of a critical direct hit. So both a crit and a direct hit. Minimum damage multiplier. The lowest if it's a crit and a direct hit. I have no idea how this math is done. It's not really negotiable, right? Like, the damage is damage, and like a crit is better than a non-crit. So like, when you're following the Balanced Discord's stat priority, you're just putting in what they've already worked out the math, and it's not negotiable. It's not like I can reach out to the server and be like, I really think you should be valuing my crits more often. They really hit pretty hard. They're pretty critical. Like, it's not negotiable. But it is important for the people who build the spreadsheets and all the data that determine the value of the stat priorities, like how much crit is valuable versus direct hit. So it's who determines our materia value. That's just not me. I just follow the Balanced Discord. And because we have damage windows now, what's most important is that you do it at the right time. Because a crit that falls outside of the, like, 2-minute window or whatever is less valuable. So rotation is way more important to know than this. But if they multiply off of each other... This is gross. Let's assume the low end. But it's probably not. It's probably something big and high. This is the worst case, because this means that it doesn't feel good. This means you suck when you don't crit direct. Holy crap. I don't know. Elegant Tomestones of Creation. And for any of you that didn't know this, the Moogle Tomestones are actually using the same names as the old Tomestones in order. So we know what the next Moogle Tomestone will be called, because they're not made up names, they're pulling from the past. Moogle Tomestones of Creation, which I believe we just went through, would have been Stormblood. I think we're in early Stormblood. So I think we would have been buying 310s? Is I think where we're at in the point in history. And we get a Tomestone with launch. As well as an upgraded Tomestone at launch. And then we get a 0.2 and a 0.4 Tomestone. So let's try the 330s. Because I think it was a big boy Tomestone, not the little one like Astronomy. What ends up happening is you get a weak Tomestone and a strong one, and then a new one comes in which makes the old strong weak, and it slides down, and then another one comes in and it slides down again. So there's one Tomestone that always feels weak. It's just born weak. Better genetics, I guess. And then all the other Tomestones at least got a day in the sun before they fell to their knees. And then eventually when we move into the next expansion, the strong one, augmented, upgraded, becomes your, with its 0.5 patch, becomes your Poetics one. So then these Tomestones just die, and then the whole thing starts over. So I believe it's 330. But I'm just trying to reason my way into a guess. The player attribute direct hit was added. That has to have been around a long time, right? .5 was when we moved to like tank stance and all that. 4.0, I believe we added direct hit and we got rid of elemental materia. You can still buy them, they just don't do anything. And you can no longer find them, so every time one gets deleted or anything, it's gone. I think you can Mutamex them too, which is weird. They don't have as much value as other ones because Mutamex does not give you back the materia you put in, but it cannot give you back elemental materia, so you're missing out on the opportunity to steer the odds. So you were literally just yeeting. Alright. The order of the following features added from oldest to newest is... In ARR, we had free company housing. My free company got their house in ARR. Personal housing was made possible in the same expansion, I believe in ARR, to alleviate the fact that they weren't getting used. So I believe personal housing is next. So I think we're looking at 1 and 2. They then added private chambers to free company houses. And there is a limited number. So if everybody in a max free company tries to do a private chamber, I don't believe we all get one. And then they added apartments, and I think people were confused why apartments weren't instanced. Because there is a theoretical cap to apartments. A server can be sold out on apartments, but it's like a huge number. It's like 500 a ward or something stupid. Like, it's a massive number, but like it can happen. I think apartments were last. This would be really interesting from a housing saga. Personal Housing was just a remaster of this, so I think it was second. Alright, the crafted glamour set using treasure hunt material added in 5.2. So this is what do you farm with Shadowbringers treasure maps. Added to the map that was available on launch of Shadowbringers. Not a new map, but a new material. Because we get a map, and then we add a material, and then we get a new map, and then we add a new material. And that's kind of like the life of those, right? And so this would have been... not... Summer Indigo feels like swimsuit stuff. I think it's Dalmascan or Whisperfine. I think it's a cloth. Oh my god. I don't do it for glamour. So I just would have gotten this material from a treasure hunt if I ever got it and immediately sold it. Immediately sold it. I feel like somebody like Zeppela would know this. And be able to describe all four of these. Which one of the following did not used to be a combat action? Tackle was a monk ability. Blank is a machinist ability? I think Jugulate was not one. Spur sounds familiar. I think Jugulate was not real. And I think Jugulate sounds like a boss ability. It sounds like an Orbone Monastery type thing. Like they're gonna like pour that water out on you or something. I assume it's a real ability in game. I assume it's just a boss ability. Tied to a raid or an alliance raid. That's a pun. I bet there's a jug or water involved. That's my guess. I'm just guessing. Somebody can identify all this. If I phoned a friend, it would be Ren Karagani. Who might be able to tell me the potencies of these things. Which of the following did not used to be a combat action description? Deals unaspected damage with a potency of 50 with an additional effect of heavy plus 20% for 20 seconds. Instantly restores 800 TP. Removes a single damage buff over time from the target party member other than self. Effect. Restores target's HP, cure potency 200. Removes bind and heavy from the target party member other than self. Can you guys name which, not only which three, but when you see these, do you know what class they went to? I'm gonna guess that Asuna handled that, and we used to have like a mass Asuna. I don't know. I don't know all my abilities now, so like, I definitely don't know every ability that's ever been. The name of patch 3.2. 2.0 is A Realm Reborn. This is the Dawn. Heaven's Word is 3.0. This is the sun being high in the sky. Stormblood is the sun setting. And Shadowbringers is the night. And Endwalker is the day begins anew. It is our conclusion. So what is the second patch name inside of Heaven's Word? I believe Rise of the New Sun was a Stormblood patch. So I can rule that out. I believe As Goes Light, So Goes Darkness sounds like a Shadowbringers patch. So let's rule that out. Point 2 would have come with a new raid step. So making a call to Alexander makes sense. So I'm going to guess the Gears of Change. The Manderville Golden Saucer has been around as long as I can remember. As long as I can remember. So I feel like it's ARR. I joined the game in the gap between 2.0 and 2.1. So I would have still been leveling, or at least feeling established, when 2.2 hit. So for it to be around as long as I can remember, I have to assume that it was around either halfway through ARR or early in ARR. By 2.4, we'd gotten Ninja. So I can't imagine they added Ninja and then the Manderville Golden Saucer. The Manderville Golden Saucer is referenced early in ARR lore and is like a mandatory. It's like hard to get to the quest giver without doing that quest and going there. There might be a way, but just about everybody unlocks it. The story beats of ARR wrap up in 2.3, but I would have been a story skipper, so my past memory won't help me. Other features, we would have gotten a raid in 2.2 and 2.4 with coils, which means we would have gotten our second crystal tower. Palace of the Dead was added in 3.3. Heaven on High was added in 4.3. So I assume it was 2.3. The Relic would have been 2.35. And so this would have been late in 2.3. 2.38. That's my guess. I could be way wrong. Middle of ARR. Staring down the barrel of the first, of FanFest. Which of the following features was not added during a Realm Reborn patch cycle? G-Pose. G-Pose. Not even close. No way. There's no way that was in a Realm Reborn. Which of the following did not used to be a crafting action? Whistle your work. Right? Unless that's one of those weird ones, like to practice what you add. Like, so every crafting class used to have a unique ability, and those could be shared across all of them. So you had to unlock all of them. So there was technically an optimal order in which to do the crafting classes. Which of the following actions, combat actions, so it's possible I didn't know all of them, had their recast timer at 180 seconds at some point, except is Home Gang only 3 minutes? I don't know. Let's do it. Thank you for playing. How bad am I? Below half! Alright. Legacy World. Is Gilgamesh not a Legacy World? Gilgamesh has been around forever. Alright. I would have bet if any of these was Legacy, it would have been Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh has been around and big for a long time. Vilebrand's not a continent. The Chiadalis are in the Rotano. I'll think the Keeper just sounded right. Rogger being Calamity makes sense. Belody is Machian. Sure. Castrum Viridae. No way. I had no idea. Oh, it's the 6th! I was so confident! Blame the US, the American system for not being good enough about using Roman numerals. I got the V right. I'm gonna take that. That was just a stab in the dark. 80 Sins of Sassamomit sounded right. Pfft, who knows all this? Oh my gosh, you guys are ridiculous if you know all the calamities. Second Earl Calamity was responsible for... I don't know. I couldn't even tell you which shards are still around. And the state of all of them. Which ones have we interacted with versus not interacted with? I don't know. Didn't sound like a Charlian. Ohak Poda. Oh my god. Is it Toa Kant somebody we've met, at least? Is this somebody we know? Is that a real name that, like, we interact with? Purcell's like somebody we... That's not a saint. That's like a real person we quest with, I think. Pass your scale skin. Oh, I was between Dragon and Beast. I was just wrong. Chimeras, Minotaurs, no idea. The Void Scent Feridod is the 3rd. I just guessed highest. Artemis, good for you. It is the last vigil. Oh no, I was between those two. Armor. Academia and Niter. Okay, so that's a leveling dungeon, so we're gonna see that. Cool. Skill. I don't know what a difference. What's a skill versus not? Actions and traits. Are these skills? These are actions. So what's a skill? I don't know what any of these... I don't know. They're just making stuff up. Bruising 420, 480. Why? Oh, because it hits it on launch? As well as... I don't know. I don't know why that's not the same. The Order of the Fallen Clans, that made sense. I was just guessing. Who knew? Hey, got that right. Direct hit was added in Stormblood. Free company, private chambers, then personal housing. No way. Really? I could have a private chambers in my free company house before they were willing for the wards to fill up with personals. That's incredibly intriguing. You'll notice that none of these feel new, though. As opposed to, like, Island Sanctuary is the newest version of instanced personal. And in between, we would have had Dome and Enclave that you have no decorating ability, but it felt private. In a way. You could be there with other people, but it was something you progressed. And so they've really changed from, like, something that gets, like, airships and all this customization, and has gardening and all this content added to it, and new things every live letter, to things that really feel much harder for them to satisfy us with. Dalmaskin. Hey, I was between those two. Take that as a win. Tackle! Oh, no! Is Tackle not a monk ability that... Is Tackle not a monk ability? Alright. Was Tackle not a combat action? I thought Tackle was the monk range thing. Is this the keyword? Oh, it's shoulder tackle. You piece of crap. You got me. You got me. Alright. And then instantly restores TP. That... Okay. Patch name correct. Mandeville, really? It feels like it was always there. Golden Saucer feels like it's always been there. So the reason that's intriguing is because we also got... When did we get Blue Mage? $4.5, which means we got big goofy side content that has become a huge piece of constant updates for the game in the 0.5 patch. What did we get in patch 3.5? Hildy. Tribal. How do people hate on Stormblood? Like, I get that you like the story of Heavensward, but the story is such a small percentage of the total hours played. And it feels like Stormblood just crushed it. Huh. Alright. I would assumed it was mid-cycle in the place of a deep dungeon. We got Aggie Glam. Stop it. Stop it. G-pose, yeah. Steady touch. Alright, alright, alright. Presence of mind, POM. Okay. Not upset about the ones that I just didn't even have a ballpark. Nice. Well, it turns out, guys, I am somewhere below half the knowledge of Final Fantasy XIV. I'll take it. Feels like a win.